Many young Christians today ask where the line is drawn. Is sin only present in the act of sexual intercourse itself, or does it begin in the build-up, the gentle caress, the lingering kiss, the warm embrace that crosses the line from affection into arousal? Jesus, in the Sermon on the Mount, challenges us deeply when he says, "But I tell you that anyone who looks at a woman lustfully has already committed adultery with her in his heart." Matthew 5:28. His words are not meant to burden us, but to open our eyes to the reality that sin does not begin with action, it begins with intention, with the quiet yielding of the heart. We must understand that sexuality is powerful by design. It is intended by God to bond two people together in trust, in permanence, in unity that mirrors Christ and the church. But when that gift is awakened prematurely, outside of its covenantal container, it can become a source of confusion, pain, and shame. Physical intimacy triggers the release of dopamine and oxytocin in the brain, chemicals that create emotional attachment and even dependency. When we give our bodies too soon, our hearts often follow, even if the relationship lacks the security and permanence to carry such vulnerability. Many carry deep, invisible wounds from relationships that became too physical too fast. These wounds are often not acknowledged because they're normalized by culture, but they remain nonetheless. Emotional entanglements, loss of self-respect, soul ties that linger long after the breakup, all of these can weigh on the soul, making it difficult to discern God's voice or enter future relationships with clarity and peace. In the season of engagement, when love is blossoming and the dream of marriage feels within reach, the temptation to compromise physical boundaries becomes even more intense. It feels justifiable, even natural. But this is precisely when character must rise above passion. When one partner chooses to say no to premature intimacy and the other listens with humility, something beautiful happens. Trust grows, and the relationship gains roots deeper than desire. Saying no is not rejection, it is protection. It says, "I value not just your body, but your soul. I want to build something that lasts, something God can bless." From a psychological standpoint, falling in love is not just emotional, it is neurological. Our brains are flooded with pleasure chemicals that blur judgment and reduce our ability to make wise decisions. This is why setting physical and emotional boundaries early is not legalism, it is wisdom. It allows the mind and heart to stay sober enough to hear God's voice, to evaluate compatibility, and to grow in respect before passion takes over. As Christians, we are not called to resist temptation in our own strength. We are called to invite Jesus into our struggle, to allow His grace to empower our choices. Christ is not ashamed of your desire, He created it. He is not surprised by your temptation, He faced every kind. But He also knows what leads to flourishing and what leads to brokenness. He does not ask for purity to shame us, He calls us to holiness so that we might walk in freedom. Chastity is not about saying no to love, it is about saying yes to a deeper, richer kind of love, the kind that honors, protects, and waits. 1 Thessalonians 4:3-5 says, "It is God's will that you should be sanctified, that you should avoid sexual immorality, that each of you should learn to control your own body in a way that is holy and honorable." Holiness in relationships is not outdated. It is beautiful, and it builds a foundation strong enough to withstand the storms that marriage will inevitably bring.
If you have already crossed physical lines or carry regrets from the past, do not despair. There is no shame that Jesus cannot cleanse. His mercy is not conditional, and His healing is not partial. Like the woman caught in adultery, whom Jesus did not condemn but restored, you are invited into a new beginning. Jesus offers not only forgiveness, but restoration, the kind that rewrites stories and revives dead places in the heart. So as we reflect on love